Okay, well, it's a great pleasure to meet you all, even though remotely, and we're using the technology to communicate. So I want to talk to you about the importance of cooperation in the Arctic for a sustainable future. I know this is not being translated, so I'll try to speak reasonably clearly. Okay, just quickly about the Arctic portal and what we have been doing in the Arctic context. I have always believed in collaboration and communication, and that we live in one world and we have to be able to communicate to each other at all levels. The Arctic portal was actually inaugurated at the ministerial meeting in Svalbard in 2006. So we have a long connection both to the Arctic Council and to the inhabitants of the North. We've been involved in outreach and consulting. We host a lot of websites. We've helped many with their first steps in their presence, including some of the indigenous groups. We work very closely with the Northern Forum and host their websites, and we work with international organizations like the University of the Arctic, the International Arctic Science Committee, and many, many more. And even the recently passed away Sean Mullery, we work with them and host the website and work on the outreach with Prince of Monaco Foundation, the University of Versailles, etc. So we are proud to be working very internationally. We also work with many youth groups and have been helping youth initiatives, not least with the reindeer herders and some of the cultural activities we've helped with communicating for a few decades now. Myself, I've been working on Arctic issues for a long time. I've been a member of many international committees, including the European Polar Board. I've been an advisor to the European Commission on Arctic issues, etc., etc. I've worked with many and have many good friends in Russia. Been working in China, in Korea, in Japan, in Canada. I'm educated in Canada, actually. So, and I've had the pleasure of traveling a lot in and around the Arctic, including to most of the northern cities of Russia, even to Chukotka, to Anadyr. So now sorry, PowerPoint is slow. When we talk about the Arctic, it's very important to look at the region that we're looking at, and I often state that we should be considering the high north more than just defining it as the Arctic. It's because as you look at this image, these are the definitions that are used by the Arctic Council, and there's a lot of different definitions. And if we would be looking at permafrost, for example, then of course it extends way beyond these. Then, of course, we have the opportunities and threats when it comes to economic development. And this, of course, is a big issue when it comes to the Northern Sea route and the current, let's say, political complexities of the current situation in the world are both creating opportunities, but they also create certain issues of problems. But if you look at what's happening, of course, we look at it in a global context, like this image shows us, then the Malacca Strait, the Suez Canal, what's happening, of course, in the Middle East, puts an increased emphasis on the Northern Sea route. This, of course, is a very both a political plus an international undertaking, and I hope that we will see more collaboration in this direction. And of course, the young people will be the generation when this becomes successful. Because if you look at the traffic through the Northern Sea route today, it's just a fragment of the traffic through the Suez Canal. Suez Canal this year is probably going to be 21,000 passages when you look at the Northern Sea route, and it's in the hundreds, probably around 300. So it's a huge business opportunity, of course, looking at the future. And of course, also when you look at the future, looking at Asia, Southeast Asia, the area of China, Korea, Japan, even India, this is half the population of the globe. And being able to connect in a good way, in a safe way, is the future. And of course, also we're looking at the resources in the Arctic and how they're going to be utilized. Then, of course,
Mr.
we have the other threats, which is the climate change.
Mr. Halldor, sorry for interrupting you. Haven't you switched the slide so far? We can see only the same one for the whole time, the whole speech, the first one.
Really? I have been switching. Yeah, that's okay. Let's try to stop it, because I'm sharing. You're seeing it now?
The first one.
Just the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me stop sharing and try to do it again. It's very strange. Do you see a different one now?
Yes. Yes.
No, you see different ones.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, that the system. Wonders of technology, huh? Okay, so sorry. So just go through them very, very quickly. Yeah, I just mentioned about us, and I mentioned about myself, not of importance. This, of course, is the map that I was referring to about the different definitions of the Arctic. They are, as you can see, very different how far south they reach in the different definitions. These are the ones that are used by the Arctic Council. The shipping routes, of course, the Northern Sea route, the potential trans-Arctic shipping route, and of course the Northwest Passage. These are the shipping routes that may change the future of the Arctic. Most logical, of course, is the Northern Sea route. At the current situation, of course, the politics are making it more complex, but there are companies that you may know that have started using it only last summer, like a company from New Shipping from China. And of course, the transit from the Yamal LNG have created a new understanding of the business model that can be utilized. And then I showed this one, which of course is the Arctic in a global context. That shows the distances. Of course, there are, like my friend in China says, there are 4 reasons why China is interested in the Arctic, and this is very important, of course, for Russia and for the next generation in Russia. One, of course, is the resources in the Arctic. I mean, it's believed that about 30% of the unused resources of the globe are in the Arctic region. A lot of them, of course, within Russia, and then secondly in Greenland. Then it's the savings, the potential cost savings and time savings. Thirdly, it's security issues. As I mentioned before, you didn't see it on the map, but the Suez Canal, of course, Malacca Strait, what's happening now in the Middle East, etc., is creating an importance to have an alternative route. Alternative route meaning that there's a plan B if something happens. 2 years ago, a ship went sideways in the Suez Canal, and it took many, many weeks to recover from that delay. So it is very important. And some of the opportunities, of course, call for hubs on 2 sites. One could be potentially in Kamchatka. The other one could potentially be in Iceland. And then we have voyages between these points. This, of course, could be very economical, but it won't happen unless it's done in a global context, because we need the big players, like in Southeast Asia, to be involved. So Roman asked me to bring up some questions, and I believe you can see that slide now. So the current period of freezing of relations, like how long can that last? Well, that's a very tough one. But if we look at this map, you can see the Arctic Council. The Arctic Council has been sort of the connector, the facilitator of collaboration in the Arctic for a few decades now. And unfortunately, it is currently, it's not completely frozen, but the collaboration is slow. You can see, of course, from this map that a huge majority of the global population is linked to the Arctic through the Arctic Council, because you have India, you have China, you have Korea and Japan, and most of the European countries as observers to the Arctic Council, which of course means that it is an incredible collaboration opportunity. There are 3 binding agreements already in place, one on search and rescue, one on emergency preparedness, and the third one on science data sharing. Currently, as you probably know, the collaboration is very, very slow. There's some collaboration within the working groups. I don't know how much you know about the Arctic Council, but the Arctic Council has 6 working groups that work on different issues of scientific and social importance. And they are communicating, but unfortunately, it's very slow, and it's only through a written format, so no physical meetings. Because the beauty of the Arctic Council has been the person-to-person ability that it has created. Because working face-to-face and getting to know people opens up a lot of doors. And so the diplomats that have been working within the Arctic Council have often moved huge matters forward because of the trust that has been created between people within the Arctic Council. So the question is, okay, how long will this take? Well, some say it will take a very long time to recover, no matter what. I honestly believe that if we are fortunate to maintain the Arctic Council, no matter what, it will ease the freezing part, at least within scientific and cultural issues, so that we can maintain scientific collaboration and social and cultural collaboration. Business collaboration hasn't been at the table of the Arctic Council. We have the Arctic Economic Council that has been focusing on that. And currently, of course, that collaboration is very, very slow. Even though my friend Mats Fredriksson is trying his best to communicate to all the different partners, it's a difficult process, unfortunately. So I spoke to a friend of mine in Canada. He's in a very high position the other day, and asked him basically the same question. And he said, well, probably it's going to take decades. I hope not, but we have to be prepared that person-to-person collaboration is going to be the key. And that is my assessment, sorry. So the future of youth collaboration and cooperation between Russia and the European Arctic countries. What can we do, and how is that going to move forward? Unfortunately, there hasn't been much going on for the past 2 years. European Union put restrictions on projects that were already in place, and new projects that have come out, for example, on youth collaboration, have restrictions on Russian participation. So it's definitely, of course, an obstacle. We have been working on certain mechanisms to increase the collaboration and get beyond these restrictions. With some friends in Russia and in the West, I have personally been involved in something called the expert-to-expert network, where we've been having both online sessions and pushing some articles, etc., to facilitate collaboration. And we are working currently on some projects that I hope will materialize, where we can share data, valuable data, like for example, permafrost data, climate change data, at a personal level. So I encourage you to support and participate in this initiative, because our voices are important and our collective effort is important, and this will then facilitate better collaboration. We have also, just in this case, I'm just pointing out a few projects that we have been involved in that we were hoping would, well, the plan was, for example, to have them involved in the Russian chairmanship. Especially, we were planning to have an Arctic Renewable Energy Conference. Unfortunately, that was cancelled. I am hoping, in collaboration with the Northern Forum, that we will be able to kindle some new opportunities in collaboration with international partners, and that we will be able to invite young people to the COP29 to take part in discussions. That's going to be in Baku in November. We're going to have a pavilion, and we hope to be able to bring in then important projects like on permafrost, on renewable energy, innovation, etc. So it is important that we manage to continue that, and we are definitely trying. So the last question: how can we interact with each other, especially, of course, young people? Well, we have through the Northern Forum, we established the Northern Forum Foundation, and the initiative is to support activities of young people and try to break down barriers and take away the blinders and open up sort of the thinking and understanding, because getting to know each other is the best way to minimize negative impact of misunderstanding and mistrust, etc. So the hope is to continue such collaboration, and again we are looking towards the COP29 as a very good opportunity to have both online and face-to-face meetings and discussions on this topic. So I'm optimistic that we will be able to invite good people to such events in this form. Some other initiatives that have been reasonably successful: the International Center for Winter Husbandry has had some sessions with Russian youth, indigenous youth. There are, of course, travel restrictions to certain countries, and that's making it difficult, but there's nothing that hinders online activities. So we should be open-minded and as you're doing, work on communicating through this process for now. I just want to end by mentioning one initiative that I think can be, in a way, a certain model in the next steps and how we can minimize the effects of the current situation. I've been working a lot with the Chinese Chinese partners, and we have something called the China-Nordic Arctic Research Collaboration, where we have built a database on key experts, on publications, etc. And having such an event or venue helps a lot. And we at the Arctic Portal, we would be very interested and ready to work with you on providing such a venue where we can actually share information and promote people at their personal level, because there's nothing that hinders person-to-person knowledge exchange. And I think that is a key to minimize the effects that we are discussing now. So I think my time is probably up and way more than that, but I know we won't have any questions now, but you can send me an email, and Roman has all my contacts. So if there's anything, then very helpful, very happy and ready to communicate. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Halldor. It was a great pleasure, and thank you for your insightful speech.